So like, you know how I said I was going to actually try and finish the whole Bricky Warhammer video? Yeah, blame long work days and then getting caught up in, like, hours-long Discord chats on the days afterwards on me not actually getting any recording done, which is why this is going up on Monday. Because I only found the time to record it on a Saturday. I say I'm gonna do something and then I inevitably don't do it because I forget, because I get busy doing other stuff, and then that thing just slips my mind entirely. Whatever. Look, we're almost done with the Bricky Factions video. So when we're done with that, like I said, moving on to some other stuff. Gonna check out some other things. We'll figure it the hell out. I don't know. I'll take Sunday to piece that together. Anyway, let's get this done. I don't care how long this particular video ends up being. We've only got like 24 minutes left of the Bricky video. Let's see if I don't turn this into another hour, because apparently the Imperial Navy section is also quite long. So let's just beat through it. Usual YouTube stuff. Link down below. Go support Bricky. Do whatever you gotta do. His channel's awesome. And then come back and watch me. Like, comment, subscribe. Both first on his video though. Do that first, then maybe on mine. People, correct me in the comments if I get any lore wrong. Some of y'all have been doing that. Thank you very much. So, that said, rapid fire, quick, done. Let's finish this one up. Go. Okay, I'm being rapid fire enough. I'm just moving. We schmoving now. Okay, Bricky, do please educate us on the Imperial Navy, because we've already, like, done half of them anyway. Let's go.
Is not a specific faction of the Imperium. In this.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Shit, sorry, never mind. Okay. Oh, no wonder they waited until the title drop was partway through. Okay, that explains that joke. That was a joke entirely. Okay, good on you, Bricky and Bricky's editor.
In the same sense and format of this video, it is what shepherds around the entirety of its armed forces. Every Space Marine Primarch had a flagship, and every strike cruiser and battle barge has a story to tell. But if there is a single thing that the Shield of the Navy does the best, it is to help support and supply the monumental forces of the Imperium, the hammer of the Emperor himself, the uncountable men and women of the...
I was lied to. I thought that this was going to be longer. Also, by the way, I turned on video. You know what? Hold up. Let me turn the thing off on VT. Okay, never mind. I thought the whole display lighting would work and be funny. No, I was wrong. I was lied to. I thought the Imperial Navy section was going to be long. Never mind that. We're just getting to the Imperial Guard. I probably could have let this play and finish off the last one, but no, I got punked. Bricky and editor, I hand you that one. You punked me. We're doing the Imperial Guard instead. Let's go. Alrighty then. When someone said it, I thought it was going to be long, but no, it's just short as hell. It just took a few seconds. I got punked. God damn it. You know what? Fair enough. All right. Astra Militarum time. Let's go.
I don't care if these things have adapted to resist our las guns. If we can't kill them with our rifles, then we'll kill them with heavy bolters. And if we can't kill them with heavy weapons, we'll use grenades. And if grenades don't work, then we'll fight them with our swords and our knives and our bare hands. We'll drown them in our blood. That's what it means to be a soldier of the Imperial Guard. Now follow me. Charge.
Yeah, that is the ethos of the Guard. Uncountable men and women just charging into the lines knowing they're gonna die. I mean, you know it's hard when their go-to motto is glory to the first man to die. There's a pretty badass scene in Space Marine 2, actually, when you're on one of the planets on, like, a hive world, and you're helping defend it from the Tyranids, where you and your squad link up with a bunch of Imperial Guards, a Cadian regiment specifically, and, like, you get to walk past as one of their commanders is giving a whole ass speech. It's just fun to watch, being just this hulking Space Marine, watching these normal humans just inspire themselves. Well, ones who tried to turn tail are also being executed, like, right behind you, because that's how the Imperial Guard works. You know, it's 40k, it's grimdark, that's just kind of how it is. Anyway.
There is no better symbol of the might of the Imperium itself than the Astra Militarum, or as it is commonly known, the Imperial Guard. Though the Space Marines take the glory and stand as the visual representation of the Imperium, their numbers are dramatically thin and specialized in comparison. To reclaim 1,000,000 worlds, you need a countless number of troops willing to fight and die for your cause. The Imperial Guard represents the Imperial truth made manifest. Every year, the worlds of the Imperium pay a tithe in the form of soldiers to fight the good fight of the Emperor. And this
Yeah. Okay, I remember this detail. Astra Militarum is a section I do remember a lot about, so we're gonna see if Bricky drops anything new. But yeah, no, that's definitely the thing. You are, by law, for a lot of ways, there are always going to be a group of people who get recruited to the Guard from a planet by demand. Man, imagine having to pay a tithe and your tithe is human bodies for the war machine. Good God. Oh, man. Yeah, no, that's,
number is impossible to pin down. Even saying billions would be a dramatic understatement. The sheer
trillions, even more than trillions, just countless people.
Volume of soldiers serves as the fundamental backbone of the Imperium.
God, I love every instance of Astra Militarum art, because it's just, look at the battle lines. You got giant mechs in the back and Admech, whatever the hell priest he is here, and then just the lines and lines of normal-ass soldiers just charging in, the Commissar yelling to signal to charge, probably ready to shoot a few guys in the back if they look like they're even gonna stop charging forward. It's so goddamn metal. And then walkers and other stuff, and then there's bigger stuff behind them too.
99.9% of battles fought by the Imperium are fought by the sundering might of the Imperial Guard. With the knowledge that the Space Marines are essentially sentient tanks, what do the members of the Imperial Guard have? If they're the might of the Emperor himself, are they not suited up in a similar way? No. Not really. No fancy suits, no biological enhancements, and basically no expectation to live. Once a regiment of Guard are activated, they are sent directly into battle with almost no expectations that they will survive.
Which honestly, though, does make it cooler, the fact that some of the Guard are actually very competent. This is the thing that I praised when it came to Space Marine 2, is when you do interact with the Imperial Guard, they're portrayed as actually pretty damn good at their jobs. Like, they can actively, like, there's a couple of segments in, like, a co-op mission or a single-player mission where you have the Guard fighting with the Space Marines, and they hold their own pretty well. Like, yeah, you know, if they get overrun, they're kind of screwed, but, like, you can help them out and prevent that, and they'll hold their own pretty well in the middle of the fight. So, like, yeah, they're expected to die in droves, and good lord, do they ever. But, I mean, you try going up against a wall of lasguns and see how that works out for you. As the saying goes, look, one lasgun may not be a threat, but try 100. Or try 1,000 and see how that works out for you.
This is because, despite their training, their incredibly powerful armor, and extremely strong weapons that would crush any army of the modern day, they are so hopelessly outmatched to the things they will face. Sending a member of the Guard is throwing a rock at a nuclear bomb. However, where they lack advancement, they make up for in sheer numbers, and their overwhelming force can be the difference maker in any deployment they face. Quantity is a quality all its own. If they do happen to survive, they will be sent to the next battle, and so on. Seldom do members of the Astra Militarum get old or retire, and those that do are truly to be feared. There's an old saying that the average lifespan of a guardsman is about 15 hours from deployment, and considering the sheer number of guardsmen out there in any given battle, that number is probably accurate. When several million of your pool of guardsmen die within the first few hours of combat because the orcs threw a moon at
you. Yeah, you know, or the Nids show up with some giant psychic bug monster that just, you know, can down a Space Marine. Yeah, you know, it's kind of rough being a normal guardsman out there.
It can really screw the numbers. The soldiers of the Guard are conscripted and trained on an incredible number of worlds in the Imperium, and these worlds can impact their training and their combat style directly. The most famous usually are the Cadian shock troops, but other
salute. Cadia stands. The planet broke before the Guard. Ah! Also, my boy is the Death Corps.
Notable guard factions include the gas mask-clad Death Corps of Krieg, the Rambo level of Catachan Jungle Fighters, and the Iron-Willed Mordian Iron Guard.
Yeah.
Helps them specialize against individual types of enemies. The Indigan Prefects are a special guard regiment that came from a planet whose planetary governor, the leader of the planet, thought it was fun to collect exotic animals, which then crossbreed and then became the giant freight train-sized monsters destroying the planet.
Oh. Yeah, that would make for a pretty specialized fighting force when it comes to going after big fucking monsters. Sounds like they'd be pretty good against Nids, actually.
So the Indigan Prefects are specialized for big monsters. Hello, Tyranids.
I really should I need to stop. I need to stop yapping, and I just need to let Bricky talk, because, oh my god, we were on, that was the same exact wavelength of, Tyranids, though.
One particularly interesting officer in the Guard is the enforcement officer known as the Commissar. One of the more visually striking members of a regiment. These are specialized Imperial officers and act as morale officers. But instead of singing songs to the troops and providing hot meals, the Commissars are there to make sure that the members of the regiment continue to fight to the bitter end. If a soldier does not understand the Commissar, the solution is simple. There are trillions of other soldiers out there. We don't really need you. Combat fatigue? Headshot. Concerns about the conflict? Headshot. Fleeing the battlefield? You bet that's a headshot. Considering that these
Okay, funny thing, this is actually a mechanic in the Dawn of War RTS games. So you can attach a Commissar to a Guardsman squadron, right? And one of the ways to boost your squad's morale back up, if you have a Commissar attached to the squadron, is to just have the Commissar shoot a guy. You can just replenish the squad later, and they get their morale back. Sure, you sacrifice one little unit, but you're playing the Imperial Guard in Dawn of War. You have tons of units to spare. Go ham. You're the Imperial version of the Zerg Rush class. Go for it. Cap a couple guardsmen. Keep the morale up. You'll get them back. It's fine.
officers tend to be outside of their regiment. Feelings on them can be
Or you can be the inverted version where most, I don't think Bricky's going to mention it. If he does mention it, I will just laugh again. But when it comes to commissars, for most regiments, they're there to cap someone to keep the morale up, unless they're the Death Corps of Krieg, in which case the commissar is there to make sure they stop trying to get themselves killed for 5 seconds. It is a very funny inversion where the commissar, instead of like actually trying, being willing to shoot someone to get, it's more like trying to stop these crazy suicidal motherfuckers from going into a bayonet charge when it would be tactically efficient to hunker down and wait for 5 goddamn minutes, It is a very funny inversion. I don't know if it's canon or not, or if this is like a fan joke that a commissar being assigned to a Death Corps regiment might as well be a form of punishment. I don't know if that's canon. I think that's just a joke among fans. Either way, it's really funny. Anyway, moving on.
Be mixed, and in fairness, certain commissars like the esteemed Ibram Gaunt or Caiaphas Cain tend to do a bit.
Caiaphas Cain, hero of the Imperium. If y'all know the bit from TTS, then you know exactly where that came from. God, that short is so funny. Should I go back to reacting to TTS? I tried to do that I think a year and a half ago, and I just didn't continue on with it. Maybe I should rewatch TTS. It's really been a hot minute, and I feel like I've forgotten most of it. That would probably be a fun series, just record some episodes of and just go ham. Why not? Hey, it's good. It's a great series. Anyway.
Better with the whole people talking part, because if, say, you were trying to tell a beefed up Catachan jungle fighter what to do, you might take a mysterious leave of absence inside a carnivorous plant.
Yeah. Yeet the commissar. Nope, we don't care.
No matter what I say, I don't think I can truly convey the sheer might of the Imperial Guard, so I'm going to get a visual aid. Let's take a look at this image right here. This is the cover of the 9th edition Codex for the Astra Militarum, the official cover art. Your eyes may be drawn to the dark and brutal looks of some of the main members on the front and the gigantic orc they are attacking. But
Oh, hi.
zoom out a little bit. There is no floor.
Oh.
There is only people, and behind those people are tanks. And behind those tanks are flying artillery shells. There are 2 enormous transport ships in the sky, and their ramps are down, and on their ramps are more people. The Imperium is described as having 1,000,000 worlds. 1,000,000 worlds. And each one of them gives soldiers to the Imperial Guard for the tithe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No. They're not walking on the floor. They're walking on the bodies of everyone who's already fucking dead. Oh. Oh. Oh, shit.
On a given battlefield, in a given fight, foot soldiers number in the millions, tanks in the tens of thousands, and you have enough artillery to turn the night sky day. You have walkers and APCs and aircraft and horse cavalry and tanks the size of apartment buildings. You have drop troops and spec ops and rattling snipers and gigantic ogres that can't count to 4, but they can turn you into 4 pieces, and it just doesn't end.
Oh, okay. That reminds me of something funny. Speaking of Ogrins, in Darktide, the 40k version of the I'm forgetting, it's the Warhammer Fantasy one, but Darktide. In that one of the playable characters is an Ogrin, and so every class in the game has access to grenades, right? Not the Ogrin. The Ogrin has a box of grenades. The Ogrin does not throw individual grenades. The Ogrin picks up the supply box full of grenades and uses that as a grenade. Ogrins are big, they're dumb, but God, are they strong. I mean, some of them are smarter than others, though. I think, if I remember right, one of the voice options in Darktide for an Ogrin is a surprisingly eloquent fellow. As I remember, I haven't played Darktide in a while. I really might want to pick it back up. I don't really know.
Humanity is a horde army, but instead of a horde of bugs or rampaging orcs, it's a living wall of guns.
Yeah, that's the wall of guns, as they are called in TTS by Corvus Corex.
At the end of the day, though he's been ferried through hell on a ship that's 10,000 years old to some godforsaken war-torn rock, though he deployed from high orbit with nothing but a grav chute, though he is one of 10 million men and women snatched from his homeworld to fight a war he barely understands, though he has been given a weapon that fires small suns and may annihilate him as he fires because the knowledge of how it functions has been lost, is supported by tractor tanks that run on anything you can burn, though he wages war against the devouring hive mind, ravenous demons, and hordes of hyper-advanced aliens with strange technologies and sorceries he never dreamed existed. No one will remember his sacrifice. There will be no records of his deeds, no glorious parades in his honor, and no remembrance of his name. All he will earn is a shallow, unmarked grave on a forgotten world untold light years from home. Yet for all this thankless sacrifice, a guardsman is a man, just like you. He has no millennia-old genetic engineering, no prophetic leader, no miracles of faith. He has his lasgun, his orders, and those beside him. He is the Imperial Guard, and he will hold the line.
I was about to interrupt earlier, but then the line kept going. It was like, oh, damn. Yeah, no. It's just being in the Guard is... Damn. You become nameless, you become faceless, but you will hold that line until the bitter fucking end. Honestly, which I think is why in Space Marine 2, I like so much that even if it's just a small, temporary little victory, getting to help the Imperial Guard and actually getting these soldiers through a hard fight is so damn fun to do. Here you are, an angel of death, the awe of the Imperial Guard, the 1 in a million chance these men and women have in their lives to see a demigod of the Emperor come in and help them out in a hard fight. Ooh, it fills you with something. It's just pure, unadulterated man. Doesn't matter if you're male or female when it comes to that. Nope. Man is a feeling that knows no gender, in my opinion. It's just pure unadulterated testosterone. It's what it is. Man.
In the the end, the Astra Militarum, despite fighting for the honor of the Imperium, are their own form of a massive horde army where individuality does not matter. They are merely numbers to the Imperium, and the vast majority.
I gotta admit, I'm a little stuck on the image of this guardsman firing his. That's not a las gun. That's an auto rifle. Fire. You don't hold a gun by the magazine. You don't use the magazine as a grip. You hold it by the barrel shroud if you have to. I'm not gonna go weird gun tuber on this. Okay, the art is made by Brits, and they have had gun bans for ages. They probably forgot how you're supposed to properly hold one. I don't know, man. Okay.
Of the conflicts they are sent to attrition-based battles.
Well, I mean, okay, technically you could hold a gun by the mag well, but it's ill-advised. It's not going to be a comfortable grip. Your aim's going to be all over the place. Anyway.
Battles that gain virtually no ground.
Okay, hold up. Let's dial that back.
Vast majority of the conflicts they are sent to are attrition-based battles that gain virtually no ground while countless millions die. Yet this makes them the most human. For the Imperial Guard contains normal people who are happy and sad, people who laugh and love, and in there are stories, because there is strength in facing the horrors of the universe head on with nothing but a rifle in your hands and a prayer on your lips. Armed with an innumerable amount of Imperial soldiers and Space Marines, the Navy begins its great crusade into the stars to rescue the stranded Primarchs and reunite them to their legions. But the biggest question needed to be asked was, what would they find? The age of strife lasted for thousands of years.
Okay, I gotta imagine we're getting in another faction or two then, because we've got to be near the end with the guards, so let's see.
If a civilization was still alive out there in the galaxy, what would they be like? The technological advancements of humanity prior to and during the Dark Age technology was unfathomable. It allowed them to spread through the galaxy with ease and allowed them to settle once inhospitable planets. These versions of humanity were provided with the vast knowledge of human creations and were given gigantic machines to make arduous labor.
Oh. We're talking about the knights. Oh, yes.
Labor and ease. The spreading of these massive colony ships was known as the Long March, and these ships would be retrofitted into settlements upon arrival to their new homes.
I talked about it before. I actually always liked the whole concept of what we call generation ships. Ships that are meant for space colonization that like carry people across generations as they go to their destination and then become the primary tool of settlement once they have arrived. It's a very fun concept. Very cool space shit. Love it.
Being them were the gigantic pieces of farm equipment that served multiple purposes and the specialized pilots that could maintain them. They were not only able to tend the fields and do labor, but when interstellar communication was cut off, they also did a great job of protecting the colonists against both threats demonic and alien. Because of the significance of these machines, those that could pilot them were powerful enough to be considered leaders, and the upkeep and preservation of the machines and the lineage of those who could pilot them was imperative. These machines, over the thousands of years, would eventually be known as the...
Yeah!
He must be...
Dude, I cannot say that there is nothing cooler to any setting than giant robots. And in this case, giant robots that make the Space Marines look even tinier than normal-ass humans. Okay? Like, the average Titan is huge. I think, like, the smallest class of Titan is, like, 10 meters, I think. And that's like the smallest they go, I think, if I remember correctly. It's like a Warhound. I think Warhounds are only like 10 meters tall or some shit. And then they just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, like these are huge. They are problematically huge, actually. Bricky will get into it, I am positive.
Be humble of heart, strong of arm, be savage in war, loyal to hearth, and follow deeds of glory. He must keep honor with all, banish cowardice from his doings, and bring his house no shame. He must serve the emperor and defend the Imperium, thus should a knight rule himself. The age of strife caused these colonized worlds to be cut off from the Imperium.
Again, okay, I gotta say, I do love the design of the knights when it comes to mechs. Like, they're not full, like, yeah, they're humanoid in that they're bipedal. But then they have the hunch stance with the head that pokes out from the middle of the torso. They have the broad shoulders. That rather than arms are just used for giant-ass weapons. It is very, very cool. I'm about to get hiccups. Okay, let me...
and the reversion of these worlds resulted in the reverence for this farm equipment turned feudal, and the leadership that controlled the devices became viewed as a noble hierarchy. During the Age of Strife, exploratory fleets from Mars found plenty of these worlds, and it seemed the majority of them reverted to a similar state. Like King Arthur seeing Merlin himself, these feudal worlds welcomed the tech priests of Mars with open arms. The mutual relationship between the AdMech and the nobility was beneficial. The AdMech were able to secure more worlds for mining resources and potentially long-lost STC information, and the noble houses were provided with technological know-how and modifications from the AdMech themselves. The suits became more and more specialized, and their history as mere pieces of equipment were lost to time. What was once a tractor became a killdozer.
Oh, of course he references the killdozer.
And the Imperial Knights were born. Unlike other military aspects of the Imperium, the nobility of the Knight houses remains just that, a nobility-focused feudal hierarchy that swears fealty to either the Mechanicum or to Terra. Like the Knights in our history, once they swear fealty, they can be called to aid their respective allegiance in the heat of battle.
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. When demons can deploy kaiju, you kind of want something as big as a kaiju to deal with them, so it's totally fair you have these giant-ass motherfuckers. I mean, what other weapon would you need other than an equally huge giant robot?
The ones that swear fealty to Terra are led by the High Monarch, while the ones with the Mechanicum are led by the Princeps. The ones with Terra be sent directly to the front line.
Oh, okay. I did not know that there was a difference between the Princeps and the High Monarch when it came to, like, which particular side of the Imperium that they were more loyal to than the other. Okay, cool. New info.
Line of war, while the ones with the Mechanicum tend to be sent to protect the Forge world. And the heraldry of these houses is what you'd expect from a generic history of knights. This is pledging allegiances here and there, your run-of-the-mill War of the Roses aesthetic.
Oh yeah.
Instead of ponies, you have gigantic death machines. These knights can't seem to be piloted by any old person, however. A member of the nobility of any given knight house must go through the ritual of becoming. This ritual involves them sitting on the device used to control the knight, known as the Throne Mechanicum, for a full night. What's wrong with that? I mean, sitting in a chair for a full evening sounds pretty great right about now.
Well, I mean, come on. We all know it's 40K. That's it's not allowed to be that simple. It's not allowed to be that simple.
So a pilot cannot drive a knight. They can, but it moves about as effective as Ripley from Aliens 2, big, lifter thing. It is, in a sense, a beast that must be controlled, and a pilot must merge with it. The mind of the noble is connected to the machine and must fight with the mental signatures and personalities of the prior pilots as well. Everything a knight experiences in battle is felt by the pilot themselves, be it the general movement in the battlefield or damage sustained by the machine itself. If a knight's leg is blown off in battle, the pilot could experience a broken bone in the same spot. The merging with the machine forever changes the mentality of the noble that experiences it. This connection reinforces a strong degree of nobility and honor in the...
Oh god, that's an... Oh, I completely forgot about that. That is an actual, like, PC gaming apparatus thing you can buy. I think it's, like, called... I think it's called the Scorpion or something. It is a legitimate, like, PC chair apparatus thing you can buy. That's just... I don't know why you would. It looks hilariously impractical. It's just one of those things that you buy because you think it looks cool, even though it's ludicrously expensive and would probably get you a lot of weird stares from anyone who visits your house.
Pilot, and a desire to fight for the glory of their house until the bitter end, as their ancestors' minds are linked directly to the knight. The size of these knights can vary, but generally speaking, they stand in the ballpark of 30 to 50 feet tall and are protected by a thick adamantium armor. Beyond that, they have their own unique ion shield generators that give them added protection, and when it comes to their looks, the most common pattern across the Imperium is the Questoris pattern, and it's honestly the one you're probably thinking about right now.
Oh yeah.
There are also smaller versions like Armigers and bigger ones known as the Dominus. As for a loadout, these guys are essentially a violent Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Battle cannons, Gatling cannons, heavy flamers, thermal cannons. Up close and personal, how about a gigantic chainsword or a straight up gauntlet? And for that empty spot up top, screw it. more autocannons, maybe add some missiles. Whatever you can do to make it as over the top as possible, you gotta do it. A squire serves a knight serves a lord serves a baron, and a baron serves a monarch. So who does the monarch serve? He serves every subject, from the rudest serf to the members of the court. Chivalric fealty, when ideally practiced, is not a pyramid, but a circle. Ironically, on the surface, night worlds themselves are one of the least grim, dark settings in the galaxy. Reverting to an ancient time with knights and peasants is almost an escapism from the techno hell of the modern Imperium. But
yeah. I mean, okay, no, I was about to say something, but no. Let's let Bricky continue. Let's let him continue.
this, of course, doesn't make it great for everyone.
No.
It's fun on paper to play a game of knights, but it's not so fun when you're the peasant of that world. For the knights themselves, the knights give their entire lives to the throne mechanicum, and their reality is not their own, as they have to hear the voices of thousands of generations of their ancestors controlling their actions and their lives.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be very, that's just like annihilating to the sense of self when you think about it. You plug into this, like, let's be real, god machine, and you just have generations of former pilots suddenly screaming into your skull about what you should do, how you should do it, and the way you should go about it. Yeah, no, your sense of individuality is just annihilated the instant you're plugged into one of these things. I cannot imagine you stay sane, or at least remotely sane in a way that we would refer to as sane, for very long.
For as long as they live. It's a strange dichotomy. When it comes to Warhammer, most to all jobs tend to be terrible. However, if there was one that could be considered enjoyable, it would be the pilot of a knight, or a princeps of their larger cousins. While it does contain an egregious amount of hardship to be a knight pilot, you do enjoy a wealth of privilege. A knight pilot is often an asshole who can back it up. The rich noble that, despite his braggadocious behavior, is still very much him, and he will continue to be him. But
yeah, no, that is the that is the vibe. You know, someone who is him, knows they are him, and backs it up. Yeah, no. Look, I mean, when you're the pilot of a 50-foot tall death god, yeah, I feel like you kind of deserve to be a little bit of an asshole about it. You know, you've kind of earned that one.
knights are not the only thing that the Imperium found lost in the stars during their Great Crusade. Due to the circumstances of the Age of Strife, humans were changing and adapting to the new homes they were now isolated on. Some of these humans evolved over thousands of years to adapt to these areas, and they were known as abhumans. Many abhumans found their
we're getting into the actual new shit. Hold on, I see that art in the background. Hold on, Bricky.
way into the Imperial Guard or other lesser positions in the Imperium if they were not wiped out immediately for being too different from their counterparts.
Heresy, get nuked.
But their abilities and appearance vary from planet to planet, and one particular group of abhumans have made quite a name for themselves in the center of the galaxy.
Yeah. Okay, these are the new guys that I mentioned way back in the first part after like a month ago. Ha ha ha. The Leagues of Voton are the new faction. They have technically speaking, they're retooled from the squats, but the squats technically don't exist anymore. We don't talk about it. But so they're a new faction with air quotes, in that they're based off a old concept, but brought up and renewed and made into their own group. This is entirely new. I know next to jack shit about the Leagues of Voton, aside from some stuff about the tabletop that Bricky has mentioned in like his Warhammer 40k tournament video, so I am in completely blind on this one. Time to go.
The origins of what will be known as the Kin start at some point during the Dark Age technology, where their ancestors left a planet that is very much Terra and went to the galactic core to mine it of its resources. Brought along with them everything that they would need for a long-term stay, most important of which were the incredible AI-based supercomputers. Be it guidance, technical or philosophical, schematics, or the ability to upload the memories of a deceased explorer to gather information from them, these computers became an essential part of their everyday life, especially considering that the galactic core is one of the most inhospitable places in the galaxy. It is an exceptionally star-dense location, full of abnormalities, black holes, and sentient hostile nebula. Whatever that last part means. It is a safe and place to make a living. And this only got worse thanks thanks to the warp storms during the Age of Strife. In order to adapt to this area, these travelers perfected a genetic makeup that made their future clones to be more adept to the area. These future clones would be shorter and more robust than their ancestors, and the need to procreate would be unnecessary because why risk messing up a good employee when you can just make a new one?
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, new stuff. So I did not know that the Votan were entirely based on being just a clone species. And interesting. Very, very interesting.
These would be known as the squats, and they would all die, except for when they didn't.
Yeah. That kind of happened, but then it didn't happen.
And now they are known by a different name. Most void-faring races have at least one cautionary tale of foolish explorers vanishing amidst its blazing stellar mysteries and strange anomalies. Yet for the leagues of Votan, the galactic core has been home now for millennia. These squat humanoids would begin to establish themselves in the core, and their goals would be the same as their ancestors. Rock and stone! But like, actually kinda, yeah.
Unironically, Rock and Stone, yeah. Unironically, we are playing Space Rock Galactic out here. And no, it's not really a joke.
Whenever one of them would die, they would know that that sucker would need to be...
Wait, no, it's Deep Rock Galactic, not Space Rock Galactic, what I'm saying. Anyway, DRG is fun. DRG is fun. I haven't played it in ages, though.
Upload to the machines like their forefathers did. But the original purpose of these machines was lost to time. What was once a technical...
Okay, honestly, how many times have we heard, and its original purpose was lost to time? I mean, that's kind of the tagline of 40K, though, isn't it? Yeah.
Resource for them turned into a ritual known as joining the ancestors. And the fact that they were clones at this point meant that the same copy of the same individual would be uploaded countlessly. The sheer overuse of these computers and the repeated uploading of redundant data has turned these once powerful supercomputers into your parents' computer after you installed LimeWire on it, and whose 50 Google Chrome tabs definitely contain information they will return to one day.
Oh no, that's actually, yeah, I was wondering, when are we gonna hit the twist? And the twist is they just keep uploading redundant data that slow the supercomputers down to a crawl. Yeah, no, shit, that's bad.
So much corruption that these computers began to develop the makings of a personality of their own. These would be known as the Votan, and the
oh no, they went Skynet.
Kin, this dwarf-like abhuman of humanity, would revere them. The Votan still operate to this day, but the volume of corruption have made anything outside of their very basic functions highly unpredictable. They don't answer a question for centuries at a time, and if they do provide an answer or data, it has become so corrupted and so incongruent that it takes a literal kin wizard to comprehend it. The kin, much like the dwarves of fantasy, exists nowadays as a mercantile species.
Okay, that armor is dope, though. I haven't talked about it much, but, like, the Votan armor is really dope. I love this idea of, like, a dwarven Terminator. Look at that shit. That's so cool.
That constantly work to mine and manufacture. However, their capitalistic desires are dangerous. The biggest crime...
they're the capitalist faction. Okay, you know what? Yeah, 40K was kind of lacking in a faction that was meant to be a funny haha take that at corrupt capitalism. Okay, yeah.
A kin can face are being lazy, unproductive, and breaking a contract. Stellar conflicts have broken out over hundreds of years due to the breaking of a deal. So if you see
broke a deal, into the book of grudges it goes. I mean, I don't these doors at the book of grudges, but that is just a very funny idea that they definitely carry that over in some way. For those who don't know, in D&D, dwarves, at least the basic version of D&D dwarves, if you go by freaking Forgotten Realms, have like what they call a book of grudges, where dwarves will write down slights caused against their clan and remember it for generations, even after a point it becomes totally irrelevant to literally everybody else.
Contract with a kin, you best stick to it. Because of this, the kin have been known to interact with other species in a fairly common manner. This includes humanity, who have met various members of the kin multiple times, but constantly considered them to be all a different species. Famously, the Imperium noted that the kin they referred to as the Squats were their own species and were wiped out by the Tyranids. Little did they know, they were still around. The kin are acutely aware of two things.
Okay, so the Squats being annihilated by the Tyranids is still canon, But they were just one group among the Leagues of Voton and the Kin. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that answers a long-standing question. Makes sense. Okay, we're good.
The first is that the humans of the Imperium are deeply terrified of technology, so the sheer existence of the Voton is a secret as well as the truth. This extends also to the Iron Kin,
Ooh.
sentient robots that are treated in the same esteem of flesh and blood kin, because kin is kin. The second thing they are aware of is where they're from.
Dude, these Voton arts are cool as hell. Holy shit, these designs.
They are fairly confident that they are from Terra, and they know that if this secret was to be known by the Imperium, that the Imperium might want to take ownership of them and everything they've built. So the more alien they are, the better. Now, this sounds fine and good, right? What could possibly be wrong with these guys besides the hyper late stage space capitalism? Well, we have to go back to their creation. The kin are an entirely clone based race made from the
Oh yeah, no, because overusing of cloning usually tends to have problems in these settings. Overuse it too much and clone degeneration tends to start setting in. Oh no, okay.
computers that are exceptionally difficult to recreate. These machines, the Voton, are becoming more and more unpredictable and derelict. If anything were to happen to these machines, it would be a twofold ending of the kin. New kin cannot be reproduced, reducing their numbers, and the existing kin would have no further purpose because the end that awaits them would be non-existent. The horror of the kin civilization is that the entire purpose of their lives is to do the best they can at their duty and upload all they know to the Voton, their ancestor cores. Join them.
Oh no.
But doing so is actually the thing that is killing these supercomputers in the first place. The ancestors were dead.
Oh no.
But through the first truths, their legacy continued. And though their eyes had shut long ago, indeed the ancestors were watching, not with a gaze from eons gone, but with the eyes of every living kin. Each generation was the embodiment of the ancestors cast anew by the Voton. The galaxy changed. Stars died, planets were destroyed, and civilizations fell. But as long as the Voton endured, the ancestors still lived. I do want to end this last bit with an enjoyable quote from one Kim. As you assume, the Leagues of Voton are space dwarves with a corporate sci-fi motif, but they are still very much dwarves. They're squat, they're strong as hell, and they hold serious grudges. This time it's just more about your contracts than anything else. And so because of this, they might treat most things about how you would expect a capitalistic dwarf would.
Oh no. Oh, here we go.
Stand, human. I am not here to debate. I am not here to compromise. What you see as yours, I am taking for my kindred. You want to bargain? Torek, unholster our means of negotiation. As the Great Crusade continued,
that's great.
Would find their missing Primarchs, reestablish the locations of all of their various worlds, and finally reclaim what the Emperor was always hoping for. But eventually, all the Emperor sought to build would be his undoing. His original attempt to have all of the Primarchs lead his great armies and usher humanity into the better ages would end up crumbling down. And we will learn about how the Imperium backslides and the horror of the modern day of 40K in part 2. I will see you very soon. Thank you so much for watching.
And thank you, Bricky, for making this video to let us react to it to begin with. Oh boy, the fact this has to become a part 2 is, oh, it's so astonishing in a way that's just a little bit like, oh no. If that first part alone was 2 hours of just building up to the Horus Heresy, God, everything about the factions involved in the heresy is going to be probably its own monster of a video. Oh God. Oh no! Anyway, big thank you to Bricky for his content always being as good as it is. It's very fun. And thank you for those of you who decided to actually watch a lot and sit through my yapping in between things and get through this. Because good Lord, collectively, I have turned like a 2-hour video into a totaling over 4-hour thing. There's a reason I had to split this up because I talk way too much and I interrupt so often. So thank you very much if you stuck through. I will see you guys next time when hopefully it's something that's going to be much less time to go through, though I'm still probably going to yap about it a lot. Until then, see you guys later. Oh, God.